As usual, this is Joe Green. I'm doing my late night live stream. And the reason I do that is I normally, during the day, especially on Sundays after church, we have family meal, take a nap and do some other things. And then I stream this. And so I'll share it. So when I share it, then you guys will be able to see it. But it's so good to be with you. And I just want to share a couple of thoughts with you. And, one of the things that has really gotten to me and bothered me, and excuse me one second, let me grab my water real quick. Hope everybody's doing well today. And, I know that we have a lot of issues. We have a lot of different things we have to deal with. And the thing that really gets me is how manipulated people have been to use their energy to really focus on things that are not of any importance to us, especially as Black people, African Americans. They have first, the whole thing during the election period was Trump is the bad guy. He's the boogeyman. We can't let him. He's insane. You can't let him win the election. He won the election. And, whether people want to accept it or not, it was a mandate from the American people. He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college, won the swing states. And, it was a mandate. The majority of people in America said that whatever his platform was, that they agreed with him. And so because that failed, that they couldn't say, well, he's a maniac, he's a genius. I mean, he's a maniac, he's a racist, he's all these different things. You can't vote for him. American people, don't vote for him. You got to vote for her, even though, whatever the case may be. People didn't listen. So then what do they do now? He got in office. He's crazy. He's not going to do what he said he's going to do. So then he immediately started to attempt to do what he said he's going to do through executive orders, whether it's securing the border and also cut the size of the government and cut waste, fraud, and abuse. He immediately put in things to do what he said he was going to do, right? He made campaign promises. He started to execute the plan. And so the next thing was, well, how can we target what's going on? So they started targeting Elon Musk. Now, I just need to let you know, for the record, I'm independent. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm not trying to tell you to be pro anybody. I'm not trying to tell you to be pro Trump, pro Musk, anti-Trump. I'm not telling you any of those type of things. But my website, my YouTube channel, my ministry is basically for truth and what is true. We gotta focus on what is true and what is right and what's in the best interest of each individual for their family, and not allow ourselves to be manipulated by the mainstream media, the powers that be, and the narrative that the global elite are pushing. Because Trump is anti-globalist, he's anti-ruling elite. He's, even though they're trying to tell you different things, that is absolutely what he's standing for. And the reason he's standing for that is not just because he said it, but he's trying to execute policies and plans and different things that actually go against the agenda of the global elite, right? And that's why they try to have him killed. I mean, let's be honest with you. And anybody who will tell you that was staged is completely either deranged, they have Trump derangement syndrome, or they just aren't aware or educated as to the dynamics of that. There's no human being that would stage someone to yep, that's one of my books, From Kilos to the Kingdom. That's the first one I wrote about my story, my testimony. And if you get a chance to go to Amazon, you can order a copy of it. It talks about my testimony, my prodigal son experience, and how God restored me. On the other side, you see 2019 movement, which is a movement we started back in 2016, and we've been really promoting reconciliation, restoration, and healing, and all those other things that we're called to do as individuals. Hey, Abel, how you doing? But anyway, let me get back to the topic. So what we're talking about here is we got to stand for truth. We got to stop allowing ourselves to be separated and divided, and also focusing on things that aren't important. As African Americans, we have so many things that we've been dealing with over the last years. Hey, Joan, how you doing? We've been dealing with a whole bunch of other things over the last several years and several decades that are detrimental to the African American community. But yet now we have this shiny object in President Trump, and more importantly, Elon Musk. We have this shiny object that they have us focusing on and being upset with, and we're supposed to be afraid. And democracy is in danger, and all these other things. These are scare tactics that they are giving you to distract you from what is really important. What is really important? As we see, the gas prices are going down to a 4-year low. The price of eggs are going down by almost $2. Everyone was complaining about eggs. They were complaining about fuel prices. Inflation is going down as well. But they're not focusing on that. What they're focusing on is having you afraid about what Trump's going to do and what Elon Musk is doing. And I would say to you that there are more specific things that you'd be afraid of and not focusing on these things. And I'm just going to talk briefly about the absurdity of really focusing about, I see people that are glorifying and trying to hurt Elon Musk. They are vandalizing, his car lots and Tesla cars and all these other things. And I want you to understand, and I want you to grab a hold of the fact that that is idiotic. That is not smart. That is a form of manipulation and control. And what they're doing is they're stoking fear in you to have you do things that's irrational, or even not even if you didn't do it, but to support people that are doing things that are irrational. And I'm going to talk about why that's irrational and some of the things for us to understand and look at. Because again, if you look in the Black community, you look in the inner cities, our children can't read. The Department of Education is demonstrating, and it's NEAP, which is an offshoot of the Department of Education. And they have done the statistics and the studies. And in the inner cities, 85 to 90% of all school age children can't read or do math at grade point level. Grade point level. 85 to 90%. You should be alarmed about that. If 85 to 90% of our children can't read or do math at the grade point level, what is the future going to look like? That should be a concern for all of us. So when people are so upset about the Department of Education getting dismantled, they failed us. They aren't doing the job. Instead of teaching our children reading, writing, and arithmetic, they're teaching them a different morality. They're trying to teach us a morality that maybe most of the parents don't agree with. And so these are things that we should be concerned about. When we understand all the other things that we should be concerned about, instead of that, they have this shiny object in Elon Musk and Donald Trump that you should be fearful of them, even though the country was going in a bad space even before they came in office. But yet now, those are the things you should be most afraid of. But I want to give you a couple of things to look at. I want you to share this with other people. I want you to subscribe to the channel. I would love for you to share this video. We're going to expand and go back into what we did before. We used to do podcasts and have guests and all that other stuff. So we're going to go back to that. And so I need your support. I need your support by subscribing, by sharing, and also financially. We're going to ask for donations so we can expand our program, because truth is important. And it's important that we have people that speak truth to power in this day and this age. So let me tell you a couple of things of why we're being duped and what you should focus on, and why the ridiculousness of trying to hurt Elon Musk in the manner that people are using is just absurd. It's a distraction. It's something that they're getting you to do to have you to be distracted about the real issues. So the first thing is when they talk about trying to hurt Tesla, right? So people are saying, I'm not going to buy a Tesla. We're going to protest Tesla. We're going to damage the property. We're going to all this other stuff for Tesla. I need you to understand something and why this is so idiotic, that strategy to trying to hurt Elon Musk. Elon Musk owns less than 13% of Tesla stock. Even though he's the CEO and one of the founders of Tesla, he owns less than 13% of Tesla stock. Why is that important? Because the vast majority of people that own Tesla stock, so I looked it up, and you have Vanguard, you have BlackRock, you have these other Main Street, you have these other major investment firms that own Tesla stock, right? But you have to realize what these companies do. These companies fund a lot of retirement funds. And so, like, for instance, Tim Walz, who got outed and got pushback on, he was making fun of the fact that Tesla stock was dropping. But what he didn't understand, as the governor of the state of Minnesota, is that the government of Minnesota's, the state retirement fund, owns 1.6 million um, shares of Tesla stock. It meant that if Tesla fails, The retirement fund of state workers of Minnesota, their retirement goes down. And so why would you be, you're trying to hurt somebody like Elon Musk, but you're not hurting them. You're hurting these working class people in the state of Minnesota and all over the country that their retirement fund is invested in Tesla stock. And so it's absurd and ridiculous for you to try to harm him by doing this, and you're really not hurting him. You're hurting the working class people that you say you supposedly are trying to help. So he owns less than 13% of the stock. It's a public traded company. And if you don't understand it, hey, Joan, my day was pretty good. How was your day? Hope you had a good day as well. And so at the end of the day, I want you guys to be smart and not fall for the buffoonery that's being promoted and people that are so deranged and so triggered emotionally by these people that they just don't even use rationale in how they look at things. And so you're not hurting Elon Musk. He only owns 13% of the stock. The second part is if you, the people that are doing these acts that are defacing Tesla cars and they're destroying or they're doing vandalism at the dealership, they're going to get charged with terrorism because it's a political move. Anytime you use fear or violence to promote a political agenda, that's considered terrorism. And so this is absolutely a political thing. They're going to destroy the stock. And it's one thing if you went out and bought your own Tesla. If I went out and paid money for a Tesla car, I can take that car and do whatever I want with it. But if it's somebody else's car, if you don't own the car, it's not only vandalism, it's felony vandalism, but it's also terroristic acts. And if you get charged with terrorism, their life is destroyed. You're going to go to prison. You're going to have to pay fines. Your family's going to be affected. So think about how stupid it is for people to say, I'm going to try to hurt Elon Musk in protest by destroying Tesla. They're going to catch you. And when they catch you, your life is ruined, and it's really not going to affect Elon Musk. Because think about this, even if you destroyed his property on the lot, if you go destroy the business and you vandalize it, do you understand that he has business insurance? And so the insurance company is going to pay him back for all the damages you do. So he's going to get recompense for the damage you do, but your life is going to be damaged because you did something stupid, like trying to protest him by doing something that makes absolutely no sense. And again, this video is not to try to promote or support Elon Musk, but trying to bring some common sense and rationale into the conversation, because there's so many of us that just get so emotionally triggered that we do stuff that's stupid. And at the end of the day, it doesn't bring us anywhere close to the expected end or the goal that you have to try to accomplish. Here's another thing. So we talked about the terrorism. We talked about the fact that he owns only 13% of the stock. But here's another thing for you to understand. Elon Musk is reported he's worth $355 billion. He's the richest man in the world on paper. There's people who's richer than him, but they're not on paper. $355 billion, people. I need to say that again. $355 billion he's worth. So even if you hurt the stock and made it go down, even if you cut his worth in half, his net worth, he's still worth over $100 billion. He can buy and sell all of you jokers who are mad at him. $355 billion. If you try to damage his company, you're really not harming him per se. You're not doing anything. And it's absurd that these people, all of us broke people, and I'm including myself as well, all of us broke people mad at the billionaire. We're going to do something that's going to damage your life, but it's really not going to affect him. Can you imagine if you're worth $355 billion and now you're only worth $175 billion? Hey, John Brown, isn't that crazy? Like I said, I'm broke. I consider myself broke too, especially compared to somebody who's worth $355 billion. If you cut his wealth down to $175 billion, he's still more. He still can buy and sell all of y'all. I mean, it's just absurd. It's just ridiculous that people, that's the strategy they're going to take. We're going to hurt him. And I'm glad his stock's going down. And what does that do to him? He probably doesn't even notice it until somebody tapped him on the shoulder and say, hey, by the way, you're only worth $175 billion now. And that's not going to really bother him anyway. Here's another thing. He's the CEO of Tesla, last I heard. If he's forced to step down from Tesla, I need you to understand how that works. Most CEOs of major companies, because Tesla is worth $1 trillion. It's worth $1 trillion. It's a huge company that he's created, that he's built up. If he's forced to step down as the CEO of Tesla, as a CEO, most of the time you have stock options, which means if he steps down, he's going to sell off his shares of Tesla, which is going to make him richer. He's going to have more money. You guys got to realize that when he bought Twitter, which is now X, he's paid $40 billion in cash. It was a cash sale. He divested some of his stock in his companies and paid. He wrote a check for Twitter, $40 billion. Any person that could write a check for $40 billion, you're really not hurting their bottom line by doing these little petty things to try to hurt him. If he steps down as CEO, he's going to be wealthier than he is now because he's going to have to sell his stock options. And so you guys are wasting your time by these little petty, these petty protests that aren't going to add up to anything. Um, and the other part of that is that really is absurd. And I'm going to bring this to a close. The thing that bothers me the most is people are mad. Okay, so Trump won the election fair and square. Everybody acknowledges that. It was a mandate because he won the popular vote, the electoral college, the swing states. He has the House and the Senate. He has all these things, right? Because the American public is saying the platform that he ran on, we support it. That's what we're supporting. They voted for that. And so one of the things he said is he's going to cut down the size of the government and to address waste, fraud, and abuse. And so he immediately goes to work in doing that. And people are mad. They're not mad at the fact that there's waste, fraud, and abuse and the billions and billions of dollars. They're more upset with the person finding the waste, fraud, and abuse. That's absurd. That would be like a person get caught cheating. If I stole something from your house, right? If I came in your house and stole your television and put it in my car, if you came to my car and opened my car and says, "Hey, I caught you, you stole my television," I shouldn't come to you and say, "What are you doing going in my car? You shouldn't have been in my car in the first place." The real issue is you stole something from me. You're taking something from me. You're misusing our funds. And I don't know about you, but most of us aren't excited about how much income tax we have to pay every year. People complain about taxes all the time. Your tax money goes into the government and the government spends your tax money. So when they are uncovering fraud, waste, and abuse, they're looking at how your money is being spent and they're saying it's been spent inappropriately. So your focus shouldn't be on the one who found the waste, fraud, and abuse. Your focus should be on the ones who are abusing your money, and they've been doing it for a long time. That's why I know that this is a form of people are emotionally triggered. They're not thinking rationally. They're being manipulated and controlled because there's no right person in their right mind that's more upset with the person who finds the fact that your money is being misused than the one who is misusing your money. It's not common sense. You got to we got to get back to common sense and what is true. And my encouragement is to each and every one of you is don't allow yourself to be manipulated. Don't allow yourself to be so caught up in what the media and what the mainstream and what popular opinion is telling you, because you got to realize that the powers that be that have been manipulating us for a long time are the ones who are abusing you, the ones who are taking advantage of you. Yes, John Brown, common sense is no longer common. It's not a common thing anymore. And it's sad because I have a lot of people that I know that are intelligent. They are accomplished people, but they're getting caught up in this foolishness as well. Again, you think about someone like Elon Musk. What reason does he have to do this? He's not getting paid for it, other than he may have a passion to try to do what's right. And here's the other part of that I say all the time, that we get so caught up in the fact that these people are billionaires and this and that. They don't have to do this. I mean, again, I'm not promoting Elon Musk. I'm not telling you should be a fan of his or like his. I'm just talking about what is common sense and what is truth. That's the thing we have to be more focused on than the things that we're being told to be upset with and be fearful of and all this other stuff. Because I believe that we have an opportunity to move back into a place where we all can live good and peaceful lives, as the Bible talks about, and we are exposing those who are taking advantage of us, and so that we can, no longer have to live in the tyranny of what we've been living under. If you think about trillions of dollars of debt, it's unsustainable. And no matter what you think about Trump or Elon, if this economy crashes, if you had a retirement, if you have a mortgage, if you have all this other stuff, if the economy actually crashes, it will affect everybody. And ultimately, we will no longer be an independent sovereign nation, but we'll be part of a larger global conspiracy, and that global conspiracy will care about you less and less than individuals that you have the opportunity to vote for or support by your local, your national, and your federal governmental officials. So just some things to think about. And like I said, don't take things at face value. Look at common sense. Look at how things are actually going on. And my whole thing is don't be so upset with a person who's offering a solution if you don't have any solutions at all. We know that the government was out of control in their spending, and our budget deficit was too large, and people didn't like that. But the alternative was what? Nobody had an alternative. You think about illegal immigration. If you look at some of the other videos I did, these people are pouring across our borders. And here's the other thing. This is another thing I thought about when I was talking about, I was preparing this video. People are so upset with Trump and his immigration policy, the deportation, and how he had a zero tolerance policy for people coming across illegally. But what most people don't fail to realize is his immigration policy and the rhetoric and his talking points. Look it up, are almost word for word what President Barack Obama said. He was very much anti illegal immigration, and he spoke about it regularly. And as a matter of fact, when you look at Trump executing his policy on illegal immigration, he's not doing his own policy. What he's doing is he's executing the policy that President Barack Obama put in place. When he's separating children from families, that's what Barack Obama put in place. And the reason they put that in place was because a lot of children were being trafficked. And so, in order to stop trafficking, they would separate the children from the families until they can identify whether or not the children actually belong to the parents. And so, I need you guys to get out of your feelings. I need you to stop being manipulated and controlled and start using your common sense and really looking at things from a factual, informational basis and not from an emotional basis. This has been Joe Green, and I love you guys. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. And I'll be back tuning. We'll do some more live stuff tomorrow, and I'm going to start a podcast. So please like the channel. Please share the channel. And ultimately, if you will, please consider supporting the channel as we continue to grow and speak truth to power. Love you guys. Peace and blessings to you. Shalom.